I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. There's a commitment to excellence to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others. Just win. Play hard. Try not to make mistakes. But don't worry about mistakes because there's only one thing that counts. Just win. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win. Is the will to win. Is the will.
Otis, thanks for coming on the Raider Homer channel. It's always an honor to have a member of the Raider alumni on the channel.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, now you played 2 stints with the Raiders. The first stint was from 1980 to 1984, and your second stint was a part of the 85 season to 1986. And as a Raider, you played 85 regular season games with 19 starts and recorded 9 interceptions for 82 yards and 2 sacks. But most importantly, you became a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Yes, it was weird that I was drafted by the New York Giants in 1978, and then I got traded to Oakland in 1980, and it was just weird how I went from a last place team to the Super Bowl that year. So, and then from 1980 to 1980, 8 through 84. Came into camp in 85, got released. Kansas City picked me up for 4 games. And the only reason why KC picked me up, because at that time, we were playing the Raiders. Well, Kansas City was playing the Raiders twice within those four weeks. And back then, we had what you call IR. You can go on IR for 4 weeks and then come off it. So what they ended up doing, one of their DBs went on IR. They picked me up. So basically, they wanted to pick my brain. And I wasn't going to let them pick my brain because I knew it was the reason why they picked me up. Because once we played the Raiders the second time, that was the 4th week, they released me, and then the Raiders picked me right back up again. So I finished the season with the last 11 games with the Raiders. So I knew what they were doing. But when I got picked back up to the Raiders, so basically I just missed, I missed 1 game out of that 16-game season. So
cool. Well, as you mentioned earlier, you were drafted by the New York, and you were drafted in New York by the Giants, right?
Yes.
All right. And now, you come to Oakland, and in your first year with the Raiders, you win a Super Bowl. So how did it feel to be on a Super Bowl winning team?
What's so funny was that year in 1980, of course, you remember we're a wild card team. Yeah. So we had to go play the New York Giants the last game of the season, and we had to beat them to make the wild card. So for me to go back and play the last game against a team that drafted me, that was kind of strange right then and there. But all the players, Harry Carson, all those guys, they were happy for me, but they all wanted to be traded. He goes, man, you think you can give me a trade to the Raiders? They all want to come to me to ask Al if they can trade for them. So it was just a great honor to come and play for a man like Mr. Davis and the Raiders because they're such a close-knit team. I've never been around any players as close as we were in 1980. From the 1980 team on. So it was a great honor just to get that first one. And then, of course, 2 years later, got my second one.
Yeah, 2 years later, right. I was going to say 2 years later, the Raiders moved to L.A., your hometown, and win their second title in 3 years. Now you're a 2-time Super Bowl champ and one of the few players that can say they won a Super Bowl in 2 different cities for the same team in your hometown in the history of the NFL. Where does the 83 team rank in your mind as far as all-time teams?
I think they're up there. I'll say in the top 5, top 10 for sure. Talking to Mr. Davis before he passed, we had so much talent on that team. I thought that at that time, we were the best team that ever played a game. And I thought that was the best team I've ever been on. And Mr. Davis told me, he goes, nope. He goes, I think the 1982 was a better team, which I don't see how. I think that was Marcus Allen rookie year. And that was the strike season. We're 9-1, and we ended up losing, I think, to the Jets in the playoffs. And we had so much talent that year in 82. Then we just added a piece here and there in 83. We just made it overboard. I mean, I think there was such great talent on that team that I don't think anybody can beat us. At that year, come to think of it, best year, yeah, it was 1984. No, 83 season, 84 Super Bowl. We were 12-4. And who did we lose to twice that year? Can you name the team that we lost twice that year?
The Broncos.
Nope, damn Seattle Seahawks.
Oh my God, I can't. I'm so.
We're 12-4, and they beat us twice. For some reason, we just couldn't. It was tough for them. It was tough for them to go up in Seattle because they had this running back named Kurt Warner, and he was great on turf. So that year we were 12-4, and we just told ourselves, there's no way in hell we're gonna let them guys beat us 3 times in 1 year. So the Coliseum, we were in the Coliseum, and you know we made history. Let me go back a step. In 1982, that strike season, if you guys remember, our first year in LA was 83. No, really, our first year in LA was 82. That was a short season. We practiced in Oakland, but played our home games in LA. So every game was on the road. We flew from Oakland to LA for home games, and then road games. And then 83 is when we made the final complete move. So 82, we really started in LA in 82, but every game was on the road. Think about that. A lot of people don't know that.
That's
so 83 was the first year we finally moved down. So yeah, so we're 9-1 that year. Every game was on the road for us.
Man, you know, we thought last year's road schedule was tough. That's a tough schedule.
Oh yeah. Think about it.
know?
Yeah, 82.
Yeah.
Shoot, every game after practice, we got on the plane. We had to fly somewhere, you know. So yeah, that's what it was in 82. I mean, enough to be 9-1 to have basically all road games. And then in 83, during the off season, we finally made that move to El Segundo, and that was our first year in LA. So
your hometown. I mean, talk about being a hometown kid and winning the Super Bowl, you know, for your hometown.
I tell you, you know what? That was great. But let me tell you something. Oakland have some of the best fans around. Because when we first came down to L.A., think about it. The Coliseum seated 100,000. We averaged around 35 to 40,000 our first year down in L.A. You know, we did not sell out one game. Even through the playoffs, because of course it's hard to sell out, 90 to 100,000 seat stadium. Because even at 60,000, that place looks empty. But in the playoffs, every game was not on. All the games were not live because they weren't sold out. Because the rule is you got to be sold out 72 hours for a game. So when the AFC Championship game wasn't even sold out. We had around 75 to 80,000. And what happened was one of the dealerships came in and bought up the last 20,000 seats and handed out the tickets. And the NFL lifted that 72-hour. They gave us an extra 24 hours to see if we can sell it out. And that's how we ended up selling out the AFC Championship game at the last minute because of one dealership came in and bought up the last 20. And don't forget, it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
We didn't, it was just tough to get fans. I mean, we had our true Raider fans, the true fans in the end zone, the true fans. But the average 35 to 45,000 for a Raider team. Now, up in Oakland, I don't know what they seated, 55, 57, whatever. The fans, were great up in Oakland. I tell you, man. I mean, the black hole. I mean, it's just you can just tell true Raiders. And you know what? And to this day, it took me a while to get used to saying L.A. Raiders. But for one thing, you're right. I got a chance to play for Oakland and L.A. and got a ring from each. So, I can say I'm a true Oakland and a true L.A. Raider. So, now I have to say I'm a Vegas. Because once you're, like you said, once you're a Raider, always a Raider. Whether they move to freaking Mexico City, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
It's just that silver and black, man. The silver and black. So.
Yeah, well, you played with a lot of great Raider players and a few Hall of Famers in your 2 stints with the Raiders. And one of them was Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. Now, Marcus Allen came out on Dan Patrick's show, and he's given his account of what happened the day that the two of you went to the Super Bowl and y'all were trying to park and get in. Can you share that story with the Raider Nation from your perspective?
See, Marcus put all that blame on me because, I said, Marcus says, shit, man, hey, this is my first Super Bowl. He goes, oh, this is your second one. You should know better. So he goes, he puts blame on me. So back then, the Raiders, they gave us all cars. So 2 to a car. So Marcus and I, we jump on the car day of the game. So we're driving over to the stadium. So we're driving down the street, and we're in the back of the stadium. Now our locker room is literally 20 yards away from where the parking lot is. So we said, come on, man, can we pull in here? He goes, no, you got to have a pass for this. I said, man, we're players. Let's got Marcus Allen. I got Marcus Allen with me. So, man, you can't park in here, man. Now, this whole line, I said, man, he goes, you guys got to park all the way over there. I said, man, we ain't driving all the way over there. The damn place is right here. Let us pull. Come on, man. Sorry, man, we can't let you in. So Marcus and I, we looked at each other and just said, okay. There was a line behind us, put the car in park, we grabbed our bags, and just walked right in through the gate, right into the locker room, and just left the car. And people ask, well, what happened to the car? Hell, it might still be sitting there. We don't know. It's a lease anyway. It's not our car. We just walked right into the locker room, just left the car with the keys in it, just left.
Man, what a story.
Yeah, because Marcus tells that story, man. He goes, and Dan Patrick like, what? He goes, you guys did what? So, man, hey, it was one of the dealerships. They probably came and got it. We don't know, but hey, we left the keys in the car. So,
well, what kind of?
Yeah, Marcus puts all the blame on me.
Oh man, that's not too cool, right?
He goes, Odis, you should know better. This is your second Super Bowl. I said, well, I didn't have a car in the first Super Bowl, so shoot.
Well, what kind of friendship did you have with Marcus Allen?
Marcus and I was real close. He's very good friend. I'm friends with his whole family. His dad, Red, and his mom. Harold, the oldest one. Michael, and Darius. And I've always been close with Marcus. We did a lot of we hung out once in a while. During the off season, but mainly, defense hangs with defense, offense with offense type of deal. But Marcus and I, we had a close knit because I really loved his family, and I honestly I talk more with his older brother than I do with him. But we were always close. One thing I got to respect about Marcus is even when I was an assistant coach for a few years under Art Shell, if I would run the special teams, and you know what, a lot of these young players, I'm running the special team, showing them the offensive play, the step to do. And a lot of players, get out of line, disrespect me because, who am I? I'm an assistant coach. Marcus always kept them in line. And he goes, man, you know what? You need to treat Odis like he's a coach, which he is a coach. So treat him with respect. And I'll never forget that, and people listen to Marcus. So I always respected that. I mean, he was always a good friend with me, and I respect that, So he's, it's just weird. I'm going to tell you a quick story. As a coach, I'm sitting in there, and, of course, we're losing. And Mr. Davis is pissed. What the hell is going on with this damn team? Where's the leadership? So he goes, who's the leader on offense? You hated to hear this. Marcus. Who's the leader on defense? Marcus. What about fucking special teams? Marcus. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry if I could curse on this.
No, it's okay. You're fine. Yeah, Al Davis is known for dropping the F-bomb.
Oh, man, Al was hot. Because that's one guy he did not want being the leader on the team. Because that was the time, him and Al was having it out. And to this day, we don't know why. But that was the time that they weren't getting along. But he hated to hear that Marcus, everybody looked up to him, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, because it's just his nature. He comes from a winning organization, USC, and everyone looked up to him. But Al did not like that, boy. So,
man, that's fascinating. I did not learn about that in our previous conversation earlier today. That you coached for the Raiders too. What a great!
Oh yeah, I was assistant.
Run.
I was assistant coach with them for 5 years, from 1990 with Art Shell. Honestly, I was fired, let go 3 weeks before they let Art go.
Man.
So, yeah, I was with them for 5 years.
Wow,
as an assistant DB coach. So that was what I was going to tell you about. When I got released in 1985, Mr. Davis, like I said, he was real close with his players. He really took care of his players. And he brought me in the office. And, of course, winning 2 Super Bowls. I mean, I was loving the Raiders, and I was upset, and Mr. Davis was upset, and he hated to see me go. And he told me, he goes, I know team's gonna be picking you up, but when you're done playing, I like to bring you in as a scout or as a coach, and he teared up a little bit, and I teared up a little bit, and the thing was that I told him that it was funny. I told him that Chuck Knox, he was the coach at the time of Seattle Seahawks, and Chuck wanted me, and he wanted me bad. And I told Mr. Davis that, and he goes, "Oh fuck, that fucking guy. He don't want to fuck us. He doesn't want you. Fuck her. Oh, fuck Chuck Knox." So Mr. Davis, come on, man. Chuck wants it. Oh, fuck. What the fuck? That fucking guy don't want you. And you know what? And at the time, Reggie Kinlaw was there. And Chuck had Reggie call me, Odis, Chuck wants you, man. And I said, well, shit, what am I going to do? He goes, man, you can come here and play for 4 or 5 years. Trust me, Chuck likes veterans. He likes old guys. So I told Mr. Davis that, and he did not want to hear that. He did not want to hear that, boy. And honestly, I should have went, because once I came back to the Raiders, then I got released in '86. But see, then when I got released, and I tried to go to Seattle with Chuck, too late. No, it was too late then. He goes, you should have came when I asked to. So, but you know what? But I'm glad I didn't, because, Mr. Davis gave me a job. I was assistant coach for 5 years. And I tell you, see, I saw from both sides. When you're a player, as long as you can perform, is no better owner in the business. But once, see, now I got him as a coaching, on the coaching side. Whew, man, Mr. Davis looks at it this way: players put money in his pockets, coaches don't. Coaches coach. So if players screw up, it's coach's fault. You got to teach them. It's your fault that you're not teaching these kids. So I saw from both sides.
That's cool. I mean, that's cool that you made the transition from a player, a defensive back, to the special teams coach. And Willie Brown was your DB coach every year that you played.
I was assistant DB coach.
Right. Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So Willie Brown was your DB coach every year that you played for the Raiders. What was Willie like as a DB coach? And how did he
You know
help
what?
you?
Honestly, let me tell you, I never played. My whole life, I never played the bump and run until I came to the Raiders. And then, Coach Brown invented the bump and run. So I learned a lot from him, man. And that's why Lester and Mike Haynes, guys like that, was so great because, you're talking about, Hall of Famer and Willie Brown. Shit, I mean, he was a great coach. He was a technician guy. And we also had Chet Franklin, who was also the DB coach, and so we had two. But for technique and things like that, Willie was the greatest. And I'll tell you, he was great being around. He was a great mentor, and I just missed being around him because it was funny. We'll be sitting in the meetings, and then on Saturday we used to always have the rookies bringing donuts, and Willie always say, "Don't give O. Make sure O only get one." Come on, Willie, why just one? That's sugar. You're a hyper ass. You get too damn hyper when you eat too many damn donuts. Make sure O get only one. He always put me down, man, because I was too hyper.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Make sure. Saturday. Make sure O only get one. Come on, man. Shit. So, yeah, but where's my guy, boy? I tell you, he was, But yeah, we had a lot of fun with Willie B.
Yeah, man.
He was a great one.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I didn't get to see him, but watching NFL films, that's how I learned about the old Raider teams. And I just, like you said, you keep talking about Al and how great he is, and I mean, he inspired me, man. He was a great human being, and it's great to hear players.
And you know what Al did?
About him.
Al brings in players that other teams didn't want.
Yeah.
Because when I came from the Giants, this is okay. He traded for me from the Giants. So the first thing I said, Mr. Davis, I know what you've heard about me, militant and being this and that with the Giants. He goes, the first thing that came out of his mouth, I don't give a fuck what you did with the New York Giants. I don't care what kind of attitude. As long as you can play on Sundays, that's what I care about. And he walked away. That was the first word that came out of his mouth. I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't care what you do with New York. As long as you can play on Sundays, that's all I care about. And he walked away. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Okay. So, like I said, I played with guys like, a few Hall of Famers, Ted Henry, Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Howie, Marcus. I played with some great Hall of Famers. And the good thing one thing about the Raiders, okay, say for instance, 1980 team, we have such leadership between Gene Upshaw that, okay, Art, Gene and Uppy, those two were like, couldn't get them two apart. Art was soft-spoken. Gene did the yelling. And when anybody got out of line, he had to deal with Gene. So Uppy, it's just that's where the leadership came from. Because I tell you, if one guy fought, we all fought. And let me tell you something. When you had a 48-man roster, and we had camaraderie on Thursday nights, out of 48, 46 or 47 would show up to camaraderie. That's how close-knit we were up in Oakland. When we moved to L.A., we didn't have that closeness. We spread.
All right, Raider Nation, we got him back on the line. Sorry about that. So you were
camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie.
I'm sorry. So the camaraderie up in Oakland, of course, there wasn't much to do in Oakland. When we had a 48-man roster, 46 guys out of 48 would show up for camaraderie every Thursday night. That's how close we were. When we came to L.A. around the 85, 86, it kind of slowly got away from that. We weren't as close. Tim Brown tried to bring it back, but it just, I don't know, maybe it was just too much to do in Oakland. I mean, in L.A. But we weren't as close of a group after the 85, 86 season as we always were before. So more in the 90s. But, yeah, we're such a close-knit group. Let me tell you a quick story. My first year in Oakland, 1980, we were in training camp, Santa Rosa. The rookie party. We're at this, the rookie party. I mean, we're so close. Coaches even showed up for the rookie party. Tom Flory, Steve Ortmeyer, Lou Irvin. I mean, we had half the coaching staff there. That's how close we were as a team, whether it's players, coaches. We did everything together. And it's just, that's one thing I miss. People always ask, what do you miss most about the Raiders? It's not playing the game, it's the camaraderie. That's what you miss. Getting the guys together and just laughing. Because the last time we were completely together, the 83, they brought back it was our 30-year anniversary of the 83 Super Bowl team. And just walking into the hotel or walking from the airport and just looking at guys, without saying one word, we just start laughing. Because all these memories start to come back. So.
That's cool.
But, yeah, man, it's just, that's what you miss about just getting the guys together. Because, you know what, sit around and listen to the stories. Because I remember when Cliff and I, before he passed, we were up in Oakland at Raider Image signing autographs. And Cliff and I will be across from each other, start telling stories. And guys are just standing around and just listen to our stories and just laugh and just buy up half our table because they just love to hear the old Raider stories. And I'm telling you, yeah, these young kids, they ought to respect us, because you know what? Just like I respected the game from the guys from the 60s and 70s, because I'm telling you, until they do something, they have nothing on us. We have stories. We got rings. We got, it's not all about money, So, but we played the game because we love the game, man. We had some great times.
Cool, man. Yeah. I mean, you kind of, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and go with what I have right here, but I think you've already touched on this, but let's go ahead and, try to get a little more information. So, it's well known that once a Raider, always a Raider, as you touched on, in the Raider Nation. How much does that mean to you as a player, and what's it like sharing that bond with your teammates from the Super Bowl teams? I mean, I think you've already covered that, but how much exactly does that mean to you?
Well, you know what? Like I said, once I left the Giants and came to the Raiders, I played 2 years in New York, but I played 6 years with the Raiders, and I'll die silver and black. That was my team. Because you know what? Just like with my Super Bowl rings, my kids know me as a Raider, not as New York Giants. My house is pictures with, me in Raider uniforms with Marcus Allen and all my guys. But I tell you, man, like I said, I'm gonna die silver and black, and like you said, once a Raider, always a Raider. And I respect every team in the NFL. I respect every pro team because, like I said, I know how hard it is to get to that level. But I tell you one thing, it's just weird how once you put on that uniform and walk out, and you can just see it in other guys' eyes from other teams. It's like a lot of them wish they were written that silver and black. And then when you got an owner like Mr. Davis standing out there on the 50-yard line, it's just, because we're known as, the bad boys. What do you think the Detroit Pistons got their name from, the bad boys? Them dirty-ass Raiders. Just like Lynn Swan said back in those days, they're a bunch of criminal elements. The Raiders are a bunch of criminal elements, you know. And they're saying, they say back in the day with Jack Tatum and Skip Thomas, shoot, they used to tell them, oh yeah, they used to lock them up during the week and then let them out on the weekends. So if that's how it was, so be it. But you know what? America's favorite team is not the dollar damn Cowboys. It's the damn Raiders. Tell you that. So,
of course, Al Davis was the one that made the saying, once a Raider, always a Raider, a reality. And we've all heard the stories of Al taking care of his players, and you've shared some stories with Al. So let's elaborate more on how you saw Al, and do you have any more stories that you can share of Al?
Not really, because I know the one little story with Howie Long is, I think his grandmother who raised him, back in Boston. I guess she was very sick, and they couldn't find out exactly what was wrong. And from what I hear, that Mr. Davis sent a private plane, picked her up, flew her out to L.A. or somewhere to the best doctors in the world to find out why she was sick. And that's the type of guy Mr. Davis was, you know. That's how he was. I mean, you know, if you're hurting financially, you know, call him up, and I mean, you know, he took care of you. You know, that's just how he was. You know, people look at him as just shrewd, you know, mean man, but no, he took care of his players. And once, like I said, you know, once you perform, he always took care of you. You know, and Marcus, you know, his son is seems like he's starting to, you know, take after his dad. So, Mr. Davis is, like I say, he was a great owner to play for, and well respected. You know, it's weird. The owners, people in this league, a lot of them maybe hate him, but they did respect him. Tell you that much.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this is a little off script. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you have so many great stories about Al Davis. And you just mentioned that Mark is kind of taking up after him. On my podcast, I talk about how Mark is building his own legacy and repairing his father's legacy, because, you know, we all know the Raiders struggled at the end of Al's career. So what do you think about Mark Davis and what he's doing?
Well, see, I can't say too much about Mark because, I guess, I don't know him that well. The guy who was the closest to him, of course, was Cliff. So I don't know too much about Mark, and I don't want to, you know, put words in his mouth or my mouth to sit and say, you know, what's he's doing. But I still think that, you know, I think he's going to do. I think he'll be fine. You know, I'm not going to be worried too much about Mark. So you know, I respect him just like I respect his dad. So I'll leave it at that, you know.
All right, cool. Yeah. No, hey, that's perfect. All right, cool, man. So, you know, you've come on this channel, dude. You've done a huge favor. Thank you, Polo, for setting this up. You know, guys, Otis has been a part of the Santa Maria Parade. You know, the Santa Maria chapter of the Black Hole. They have a parade up there in Santa Maria, and Otis has been a part of that. Tom Flores has been a part of that. You know, a bunch of Raider players, and of course the retired players, Congress, Bob Grant, and all them. But you have some merchandise that you would like to share with the Raider Nation, and I do have a picture of some of the stuff that you would like to sell. So tell the Raider Nation about your merchandise.
Well, real quickly, because I got to get out. Yeah, I asked, you know, if anybody need anything, sign autograph, 8x10s, mini helmets, hats. My number one selling plaque is the 1983 Super Bowl. Rod Martin and I both signed. I got a Hall of Fame helmet that I got all the Hall of Famers that are alive on it. There's about 11 or 12 of them that I also have. that started off with 22 of them. I got 8 left. So, but yeah, you can look up on Polo's the website, and or you can give me a call or whatever. So, and then man, you got to get me out to Houston, man.
Yes, sir. Look, I am the president of the Black Hole chapter here in Austin, so I would love to also get you here in Austin for a Raider event. So, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, 2-time Super Bowl champion. I'm trying to get Ira over there too. I'm trying to do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some great things for the Raider Nation here in Austin, Texas, and for the Raider Nation at large, man. And I want to include players, club presidents. And I would love to have you over here. So absolutely, man. And I will definitely get the information out on your merchandise and show more pictures of your merchandise. I apologize for not being able to show every picture. They just came in rotated wrong.
All right, man. Appreciate the call, man. I gotta run, man.
Okay.
But yeah, keep my number. Stay in touch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
All right.
I'll talk to you.
I have a good one.